This is a van driving by. All right, let's start here. This is the story of how a doctor at Children's Hospital gave our autistic son cocaine. What's up, you fine folks? How was your Tuesday? I think today is Tuesday. I left my new suction cup tripod thing at work, so at least I have this one. I'm the kind of guy that needs 2 or 3 of something in order to ever have a chance of making it. But, yo, what is up, people? It's cold up here. And I don't know about you guys, is this a weird thing that I do? Because I just told my wife about it. She was like, I turned the furnace on, it still feels cold in here. I was like, yeah, the gas is still off. Like, for some reason, I don't know why I do it. And I have these little, like, the gas fireplace, and our sunroom has one of those, like, gas brick, I don't know what you call them, like a wall heater that has, like, 3 little brick things in it. When it's summertime, I go around and I turn the gas off to all of them so that they don't leak gas, I guess, in my mind. I don't know why I do that. But it's probably not really great on the furnace to turn the gas off to it and her try to turn it on. So anyway, that's besides the point, guys. I'm going to run out there and turn the gas on real quick. But today is that story that I've been telling you guys about that I wanted to tell you that is insane. And if you've seen the title, you're probably already sitting there going, dude, tell us about how the Children's Hospital gave your son cocaine. Like, I don't care about your furnace. But I wanted her to talk with me. Just say something so they can really sell it. Throw your voice like you were doing a minute ago. The camera's facing me. It's not facing you.
Thank God.
He made me feel really
What now?
Thank God. I sound like a donkey.
I think it's a combination of those Flamin' Hot Cheetos and gummy bears that threw your voice out. But I just wanted you to tell the story with me because I feel like I'm gonna. And I didn't realize how bad I was at this until I sat there with you about his birth, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm sure I'll tell it. I know the basics is what matters, and the basics are the craziest part of it. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this gas on real quick so we can get some heat in this beast. What's the temperature in here right now? Oh, it's only 63, babe. That's fine. Might as well go ahead and change the filter one more time before we start really cranking heat through here out of this system. And, you know, I'd actually be curious to see if anybody else out there had seen this before, because I've only seen it 2 times in my entire life, and both times somehow happened to be at a house that I live in. But the filter itself, you have to actually take the furnace apart to get to it, which is ridiculous. Let me turn. So yeah, so the furnace filter, there's a track right inside here that's right by the blower that you actually have to slide it through. Let's see how dirty this thing. Ugh. Caught that big old wad. It's pretty dirty for not only being in for like a couple of weeks, I guess, but got a brand new one. All right. So that's literally, yeah, it's a zip tie. It looked like a wire on camera. But yeah, this little 45-degree angled bar tucks down in here, and I guess it's what holds it from moving, and the track at the top and bottom. That's crazy. Most of them, in our last rental house was the only other place I seen it, and the first like year and a half we lived there, didn't know where it was and didn't change it until I took the furnace apart finally. But usually there's like a little slot in the ductwork. You just slide it. That's crazy. The heat's on, babe. Yeah, imagine if something happened to me. But yeah, God forbid something happened to me. You imagine, she would probably have called a heating and air technician out to try to diagnose why, I turned the furnace on but nothing's happening. And I don't know, comment below, am I crazy for turning the gas off to stuff like that? I don't know why. I don't even know where I got that notion from that I should do that, but it's literally something I've done Like I say, all the wall heaters and stuff are turned off too, and the fireplace, I don't have the gas on to it. I guess in my mind, it's like if one of them springs a leak over the summer from not being used, then the gas is off to it, I guess. I know, I've stalled long enough, and it sucks that she's not going to tell that story with me, but she literally lost her voice over the day. So, it doesn't even matter. This story's crazy. Let me get set up. So, alrighty then. Let me straighten you guys up just a little bit because I don't have a lot of time for editing tonight either. Alright, so as most of you guys already know, well, first off, let's start here. This is a van driving by. Alright, let's start here. This is the story of how a doctor at Children's Hospital gave our autistic son cocaine. All right, since we're doing it, we're doing it. I imagine, and I hope not, for the sake of the whole point of what we're doing these 100 days of vlogs for, to pay off that truck, baby. Woo. If I get another video demonetized, I'm going to slowly lose faith a little bit. Like I say, they completely zapped the video the other day, and that's why when I said the word autism just a second ago, I thought about that. Because, like I say, they didn't just demonetize it, folks. They nuked it. They said, see you later. They had a heat-sinking missile come into that video. I mean, within the first 15 to 20 minutes, granted it's not too late, I usually sit and stay in the studio and catch comments as they come in, try to heart them, especially the first comment, pin it if it's the first one, you know, try to get you guys, the early birds, right? You know, the guys who are sitting there waiting for a notification of mine to drop and jump in that comment section and show their support. I want to show it right back to you. So I'm in that video that night, commenting back this, hearting that, comment, and then all of a sudden it just refreshes and there's nothing there. And that's when the heat-seeking missile from YouTube landed on my video. As you guys know, the rest of you that didn't catch it that early, I would go on to re-upload it, just removing certain terms that I said. And the only difference from the original video is I added that little thing at the beginning where I explained what happened to the first video. However, I've not said this to you guys yet, but the video from the Saturday where I used a certain type of substance, if you will, from a local vape shop, and me and my son fed it to my car, that video also would go on to be demonetized. Apparently, I don't know. I don't even have an answer for that. I'm not even going to speculate on what happened there. First video in all my experience with YouTube that was fully monetized for the first hour and a half to 2 hours of being live on this platform before suddenly, hey, it's not suitable for ads. So whatever. And I hope the same thing doesn't happen here, because I feel like this is such a crazy story that it may get the attention that it deserves. Okay, so for the new people coming in, everybody that's been around, you guys know, I go by the Gotcha Man here on YouTube, but my real name is James Horner, Horner. Now, there's a reason that I'm making that distinction. There's a reason that I'm clarifying that, because it's part of the story and it'll play a part here in just a little bit. Do you like when I do that? Is it popping up over here that, oh, the American Pickers? I don't know if people appreciate that or not, but it takes me, the time it takes me to edit that little thing in there, this thing right there, I think it's worth it because it's funny, because I never realized how much I play with my nose, or pick my nose, so to speak. But all right, I've stalled enough. So we take our son in, and by we, I mean her, and that's why I wanted her to help tell this story. But so she takes him in. You know, they're kind of looking him over. They're kind of I think that's when they figured out that he had a little issues with his eyes. But one of the main things that they were looking at, and one of the things that the pediatrician had called, and I want to say at this point, he's either 2 or 3 years old, because it's been a few years now, and he just turned 6. So he's 2 or 3 years old. So we bring our son in, Finley Horner, and they're checking him over, checking him for this, checking him for that. And they say, so, we have a concern. Never want to hear that as a parent. I don't think anybody wants to hear that as a parent. But they said, we have a concern that he may have a serious problem. And we're not for sure, but there is a way to find out. And that's where Children's Hospital would come into play in Columbus, Ohio. They're the only place that is certified to run this kind of test, I guess. So, not only do they spook her with saying, hey, we're afraid your son might have been born with a certain kind of condition. Now, this condition would come with things that, and it's almost one of those like split down the middle type deal. I guess there's kids that, would only sweat on one side of their body. There was pictures that you could find online about this condition where you would see that there would just be sweat on one side, they'd be dry on the other. There'd be this on one side, that on the other. They couldn't regulate temperature. They couldn't, there was no sense of pain or touch or feel on one side. It was almost like it was a condition that affect the brain to where your brain basically split off one side from the other. And I guess a telltale sign of it is they can, a doctor, a pediatrician, or anybody that's aware of this condition and can kind of look, they said that they could tell by one pupil being bigger or smaller than the other. And that's always concerning anyway. And if you know anything about accidents or head trauma, that's one of the first things an EMT will look at to see is your pupils, equally dilating or whatever. I'm probably overstepping my medical abilities by saying that. But, so they're telling us all this, and they're like, this could be a thing. This could be something that he was born with. This could be an unfortunate thing that comes along with your son. And, we're really concerned about it. We really think it's a thing, and we want to catch it as early as possible. I don't even think they discuss treatment options about this. I don't even think we got that far. But here's where it starts getting interesting, okay? Again, like I said, my name is James Horner. Nice to meet you. They say he may have this condition. He may have this syndrome, if you will. And we would like to schedule you a appointment with a specialist, right? With the best in the business in Columbus, Ohio, that specialize in this over-the-top care of children. And we're going to go ahead and get that scheduled for you as long as you're okay with doing that. And what we suspect that this little boy has is a condition called Horner syndrome. Yeah, let that sink in for a little bit. We think your boy might have Horner's syndrome. Okay. So then she's reeling from that information. She's like, no, wait a minute. Where's Ashton Kutcher at? Is he about to pop out? Oh, we got you. Bam. She's like, what? And I remember, I think she texted me or whatever. And she's like, they think he has Horner syndrome. And I'm like, yeah, of course he does. He's just like me. I'm an a-hole. What are you talking about? And so then they say, as if to make that experience any crazier than what it could be, right? Once it settles in that they're being serious and they're like, there is this syndrome out there that's called Horner syndrome, and your son Finley Horner may have it, and it's a pretty serious deal. So then, you laugh off the fact that the irony, right? You laugh it off like, oh, that's crazy. Okay, whatever. But let's get serious. Like, how do we determine whether or not he actually has this? That's when they say, well, but it's pretty simple. It's a real simple procedure. What they're going to do is, it's like I said, it's real simple. They're just going to have you go up to Children's Hospital in Columbus, and they're going to have a doctor up there put cocaine in his eye. Yeah, cocaine. That Colombia cocaine. They're just going to, a little booger sugar. They're just going to pick it right out of there, flick it in his eye. At this point, and I wish I was with her at the doctor's office because, at this point, I probably would have, at the risk of losing my pediatrician or specialist, I'd be like, are you f***ing with me? For real, are you f***ing with me? So you're trying to tell me that my kid, who is a Horner, might have Horner syndrome, and then, is his parents former addicts? Yeah. Do they know that? Yeah. So you're telling me that my kid may have Horner syndrome and that the only way to tell if he does is you want us to bring him to Columbus so you guys can put cocaine in his eye? And they're like, we just want to put a little bit of cocaine in his eye and see how his eye reacts. I know this sounds crazy, and I know, God, just saying it out loud again. Like, I've known that I was going to tell you guys this story for the last, 2 days. But now saying it out loud, it even sounds like bullcrap to me. But, I'm sure we got the paperwork. If not, we can get it, from up there. But first of all, what doctor or pediatrician figures that out, right? What doctor got a little bit of coke in his eye and realized, well, that's a good way to tell if you got Horner syndrome or not? I want to tell you right now, I would know if I had it or not, because I've got, over the years, baby, I got a little coke in my eyes, I'm not going to lie. A little booger sugar, a little dust flew up, and oh, gosh. Oh. All jokes aside, I know I'm being real silly, but I need to start closing that garage door, don't I? But all jokes aside, all seriousness, it was a pretty scary time, and I'll never forget the day. And he wore this little jean jacket outfit, and we got up early that morning and drove him all the way up to Children's. And you guys know how Children's is. There's a lot of kids up there who aren't just coming in there to get a little cocaine sprayed in their eyes to see if they have, this condition that can be treated, obviously. But their situation was a lot more dire. And we've seen a lot of it going in, kids in wheelchairs and parents out there with luggage because they're staying for night after night. And my thoughts and prayers go out to each and every one of you guys that are still dealing with something like that. And that's one of those causes that I've supported in the past, and I'll continue to support anytime that I have a chance to and I'm able to, because I couldn't imagine. Just having him there for that little test was so stressful. And if you're wondering how the test went, of course we're trying to crack jokes and stay lighthearted so that we don't stress out. But me and her both took off work. Me and her both went up there. He's wearing this little jean outfit, and we checked in. We got to the room, and they come in there. And being that they're dealing with cocaine, literally, there had to be 2 doctors there. There had to be a witness to it and all this and that. And they come in there and they shut all the lights off, and they had this chart. And this is, she's more the detail person, but she can verify later on this. But I do remember that there was a chart, and it was like a unit of measurement, right? That they were going to hold up next to his pupils to see, whether or not one was larger than the other, how one reacted. But as far as getting the cocaine in his eye, and they also said this too, they shut the light off and they let us know up front. They were like, his eyes are going to be pretty dilated and he's going to be pretty hyped up. An eye is a good way into the system. It's still crazy, dude, that they put cocaine in my son's eye. Gee whiz. I probably said cocaine enough to get this video demonetized. But anyway, So they turn the lights off and they try to get us to hold him down. And I will say, and this worried me in the months following this test, because not only is my son autistic, but if he gets sketched out by anything that you're trying to do to him, I mean, he's a real mild-mannered kid. He's a real easy-going guy. But if you come at him, I mean, even those pulse oxygen things that you put on a finger, I mean, we had a brawl over that one day because he's just like, I don't know what you're doing to me and I don't know why, so I'm going to fight you, to the death. But I remember worrying, like, maybe they didn't get the right result they wanted, because they come in there, they shut all the lights off, they put the cocaine in his eye, and it was one doctor, and it was liquid cocaine, and they drew it up in the syringe. They had us help hold him down as best they could. They squirted it in his eye, and then one doctor was holding up the chart thing next to his eye, and the other doctor was like taking a flashlight and hitting his eye, taking it away, hitting his eye, taking it away. But the whole time he's kicking, he's throwing a fit, and you can see the doctors losing their patience with him. And then finally, the doctor was just like, "Yeah, no, I think, yeah, all right, we can end this here." And I remember thinking, is he sure, or does he just not want to deal with my son trying to kick him or whatever? And then following that, they had to dispose of what was left of the cocaine. So that's where that second doctor witness had to come in. And the one guy's at the sink with it, and all he wants to do is just push it out into the sink drain. But the other lady had to witness him doing it, and it was a whole ordeal. And, you know, I started making jokes on the way home. I was like, me and Finley's about to hit a lick, Mom. I was like, we're going to cut this drywall open and get some of this copper out of this hospital or something silly like that. But what an ordeal. And how did I not think to tell this story sooner? The fact that, you know, James Horner's son, Finley Horner, had to go get tested for Horner syndrome and had to get cocaine sprayed in his eye to find that out that's not something you hear every day. But it's one of those kind of stories, if I don't get demonetized by it, we'll just, oh my God, it'll get me a little bit of ad revenue. Then I could take that little bit of ad revenue, buy me and my son a little bit of eye powder. And after we get going on eye powder, we can get all pumped up. And we'll use the rest of the money to pay that truck off, baby. Woo!